20, I've already reached the divine transformation realm, unprecedented through the ages. My name is Yuan. Right now, I'm standing atop the sea of clouds 10,000 high. The wind whips my black Taoist robe into a frenzy. Beneath my feet stretches the Shanyan mountain range, 3,000 li long. Mist swirls between the peaks, like a fairyland. But I know it's all fake. Everything is fake. That ethereal immortal aura, those solemn halls. The reverent gazes of 100,000 disciples. It's all an intricately woven web. And I'm a cocoon in that web, thinking I'm about to become a butterfly.
Senior brother Gu.
A clear voice pierces the clouds. A figure in goose yellow comes flying on a sword. Silver bells in her hair tinkle softly in the wind, like scattered stars. Su Wanqing, the only person in this world I can't bear to leave. She lands beside me, her nose tip red from the cold, her breath a white puff. That instantly scatters in the wind.
The master summons you to the Ascension platform. He says he'll crown you with the Transcendence diadem, to wish you success in shattering the void tomorrow.
I reach out to smooth her wind-tousled hair. When my fingers touch her warm skin, they tremble imperceptibly. If she knew. The senior brother she admires is planning how to die. What then? I withdraw my hand, my voice calm as ever.
Let's go.
The Ascension platform, built on sky-touching summit, the highest peak of Shanyan sect, is a white jade plaza floating above the sea of clouds. Its foundation is laid with 10,000-year-old black jade, each brick carved with intricate array patterns. They shimmer with a faint golden light under the sun. All the sect's elders are gathered there now. Grandmaster Taishu stands at the center of the high platform. His black Taoist robe is embroidered with flowing golden cloud patterns, each stitch imbued with Taoist power to suppress mountains and rivers. He's lived 972 years, yet his face is that of a youth. His features are gentle, with fine lines at the corners of his eyes when he smiles, making him look like a kind elder. 300 years ago, it was these very eyes that found me, a baby in swaddling clothes, amidst a mountain of corpses and sea of blood. Xiangyuan, come. He calls me by my courtesy name. His tone is affectionate. The year I turned 5, he personally cleansed my marrow and reforged my bones, using his own vital essence to sustain my life. Without him, I wouldn't have survived that winter. I kneel and kowtow.
Your disciple is here.
Tomorrow is your great day. Grandmaster Taishu raises his hand. A rift tears open in the void, and a crown slowly emerges. The crown is pitch black, adorned with 9 stars. Each star slowly rotates, exhaling a heart-palpitating aura of chaos. Stars are linked by chains of light, forming an esoteric celestial chart. This is a tribulation crossing treasure I forged during my travels in the 9 nether starfield, using the cores of 9 dying stars. He placed the crown upon my head. Its icy touch sent a shiver through my very soul. Wear it, he said, and not even the heavenly Tao can stop your ascension. In an instant, a warm current surged through my body. My already perfected spiritual power showed signs of rising further, as if willing it alone could shatter that final barrier now.
Master, this disciple will never forget your grace.
Silly child, he chuckled, helping me up. Your glory is my glory. I lowered my gaze, looking at these hands that, for 300 years, combed my hair, took arrows from me, and channeled spiritual power through entire nights during my chi deviations. These same hands, on countless nights unknown to me, dug out the spiritual roots of senior brothers and sisters, chewing them. I had heard it. In those deep, silent nights, I heard the grating of these hands' joints, the wet tear of flesh, the sigh of satisfaction. But I feigned ignorance, looked up with adoring eyes.
Master, this disciple wishes to pay respects at the Hall of Fallen Heroes, to walk their path tomorrow.
A flicker of approval passed in Grandmaster Taishu's eyes. Good. Remembering predecessors is the beginning. Returning to my cave abode, dusk had fallen. Su Wanqing waited outside, clutching a sachet, its stitches crooked, embroidered with 2 nestled mandarin ducks. The plump male resembled a quail. The slender female a bean sprout. Her eyes were slightly red. She whispered,
Senior brother, I worked 3 months on this. My fingers are full of needle pricks.
I took the sachet, fingertips tracing the clumsy stitches. Orchid scent mixed with her warmth, a fragrance too familiar. For 3 years, each time I emerged from seclusion, outside my cave, a basket of orchids she grew herself would be waiting.
Once I reach the upper realm, I'll beseech a mighty one to open a path, to bring you up.
Her head jerked up, starlight igniting in her eyes.
Truly.
She smiled, dimpled shallow, eyes curving like crescent moons. I averted my gaze, not daring to look longer, afraid one more glance would steal my resolve to face death.
Senior brother, today I took tea to the scripture depository. I overheard master and elders discussing some sacrificial offerings. Is it related to your ascension?
My heart clenched. Perhaps for tomorrow's heaven worship ceremony.
Don't overthink it. Go rest early.
She nodded with partial understanding, leading with frequent backward glances. I stood at the door, watching her figure vanish into the twilight. Slowly, I clenched the sachet. She didn't know. The sacrifice she spoke of was me. In the dead of night, I went alone to the forbidden ground. The Hall of Heroes is located on the back of the sky-reaching peak. An underground palace sunk into the mountain's heart. The hall's gate is forged from 10,000-year cold iron, carved all over, with ceiling arrays. Ordinary disciples are forbidden to approach, but I had a token personally bestowed by Grandmaster Taisu. The hall was bone-chillingly cold. Night pearls embedded in the walls emitted an eerie blue glow. In the center stood a black jade stele. The stele was inscribed with the names of all who had ascended from the mysterious firmament sect in the last 3,000 years, 17 in total. I stood before the last stele, seeing that familiar name. Xiao Wuwang, my senior brother. 10 years ago, he ascended on this very platform, transforming into a golden light before 100,000 disciples' eyes, vanishing into the sky's edge. I was there that day, just 10 years old, held on his shoulders, watching that golden light. My eyes burning with envious tears. Everyone said he became immortal, but everyone was wrong. I reached out, touching the whole tombstone. In an instant, the talent I had hidden for 20 years erupted violently. Heavily listening, my deepest secret. I can hear the lingering memories of all things. The wind holds the sigh of fallen leaves, stones hold the lament of mountains. And from this stele before me. Master, why? It was Xiao Wuwang's voice, filled with confusion, as if coming from a great distance. This is not the immortal realm. This is, the sound pierced my eardrums painfully, followed by the sound of chewing, of flesh being torn, of bones being crushed. The sound was mixed with a sigh of satisfaction. Spiritual root. My chaos spiritual root. Master, don't eat me. I don't want to die yet. The voice cut off abruptly. I staggered back, knocking over the altar table behind me. A soul lamp fell to the ground. Glass shards caught my palm, blood gushing out. But I felt no pain. That lamp belonged to Fairy Qingli, who ascended 300 years ago. Trembling, I touched the shards. More memories flooded in.
Tai Su, you demon in human skin. I curse you to fall eternally into the 9 abysses. Never to be reborn. Ah.
Screams. Chewing. Silence. I frantically lunged at the other soul lamps. Ancestor Wu Chen, realist Sun Yuan, Tao Lord Mingyu, Divine Lord Xiao. Each lamp held the same despair. Those 17 glorious names on the black jade steel. 17 geniuses devoured alive by their closest kin. The last one was Ling Xiaozi, who ascended 500 years ago. Her remnant echo was the most complete and filled me with deepest despair. Tai Su devours the ascendants using the spirit-devouring secret art.
Using another spiritual altar, the tribulation crown is a trap. Run, now!
I collapsed to the floor, drenched in cold sweat. So that's it. I only sensed it vaguely before, using heavenly hearing by accident. It seems my master wanted to sacrifice me for something. He saved me many times. This life was already his. But I never thought so many fellow disciples died by his hand. This so-called ascension is just a feast for Grandmaster Taishu to extend his life. That tribulation crown is no treasure. It is apple seal and vision. Putting it on made me a fish on the chopping block at his mercy. And on the next course, footsteps suddenly sounded outside the hall. I jolted awake, sweeping the soul lamp fragments into my sleeve. I slipped into the shadows. It was the Grand Elder's voice. Fawning yet sinister. The hour approaches.
The child should have donned the tribulation crown by now.
The quality of this offering is peerless through the ages. The sect master's cultivation is about to break that shackle. A pity. A chaos spirit root appears once in a million years. Which genius doesn't fall?
Grandmaster Taishu is half-step to a true immortal. This world of cultivation is survival of the fittest. The voice faded.
Crouched in the shadows, my fists clenched involuntarily. So the entire sect's leadership are his accomplices. This is no sacred land of immortals. It's a vast pasture. And we disciples are merely livestock awaiting slaughter. Escape? The thought was born and snuffed out. Grandmaster Taishu's divine sense blankets the entire Xianxiao mountain range. Not even an ant's movement escapes his notice. If I take half a step beyond the mountain gate, I'll be obliterated body and soul. I forced myself to calm down. Activating heavenly hearing, I scanned every inch of the hall. Heroes Hall was built 3,000 years ago by the Xianxiao sect's founding ancestor. I faintly heard. Someone who glimpsed the truth, someone who tried to resist. The voice was weak, a flickering candle in the wind, yet carrying a heart-shaking obsession. I followed the sound. In a corner of the hall lay a broken seal covered in dust. Beneath it, a half-buried finger bone, covered in array patterns. Trembling, I lifted the finger bone. A voice echoed in my mind. I am Zhou Xuanzi. 300 years ago, I saw the truth. The mountain protection array can guard, and it can kill. Alter 36 array lines with essence blood to reverse fate. The cost? Cultivation shattered, meridian severed. Survival is a slim chance. Later one, will you avenge us? The voice faded on the wind. Leaving only a bamboo scroll. I unrolled it. It was covered in dense array diagrams. Every stroke soaked in blood and tears. Dawn lightened the sky outside. I hid the scroll close to my body. Taking one last look at the names on the Xintian Jade cup.
Ban Chongzhong, fellow seniors and juniors. I, Gu Changyuan, am willing to use this broken body of mine to seek justice for all of you.
When I return to my cave, the morning sun is just rising over the sea of clouds. I put on a brand new Taoist robe and straighten my tribulation crossing crown properly. The young man in the mirror has a pale face. Only a crazy desperation burns in his eyes. Su Wanqing's voice comes from outside the door, filled with uncontrollable excitement.
Senior brother, I brought you breakfast.
I take a deep breath and hide all my emotions. Turn around and put on a gentle smile.
Come in.
Today is your big day, senior brother. I specially made your favorite osmanthus cake.
I watch her figure bustling around. My heart feels like it's been stabbed hard. She doesn't know. This might be the last time she sees me alive.
Wanqing, sit down and have a bite with me.
I call her name, my voice a little hoarse. She freezes for a second, then sits down happily. In 3 years, I've rarely called her that affectionately. We sit opposite each other, eating the osmanthus cake in silence. The sweet aroma melts in my mouth, but I can't taste anything. She suddenly speaks in a very soft voice.
Senior brother, I had a nightmare last night.
Oh. What kind of nightmare?
I dreamed you turned into a star, flying so high and far away. I couldn't catch up no matter how hard I ran, and then you just disappeared.
She lowers her head, twisting the hem of her coat with her fingers. My hand pauses slightly. I reach out and rub her head.
Silly girl, dreams are always the opposite of reality.
She looks up, her eyes redden at the corners.
Really?
I smile and take out a jade pendant from my sleeve, and stuff it into her palm.
It's true. Keep this safe.
The jade pendant is entirely green, and it holds 30% of my primordial essence and blood inside. It's also fused with a bit of heavenly Tao power. It can barely even block a full force strike from my God transformation cultivator. To refine this, I almost exhausted all my spiritual energy last night.
Senior brother, this is too precious.
Su Wanqing, listen to me.
This is the first time I've called her full name, and she trembles all over. And it stops declining.
You must keep this jade pendant close to your body at all times, and never take it off for any reason. If the golden light on the Ascension platform changes color, don't hesitate. Activate the jade pendant immediately, then run. Run as far as you can. Don't look back.
Senior brother. What's really going on?
I didn't answer, gently pulling her into my arms. Her body was soft, carrying the faint scent of orchids. I whispered in her ear.
Promise me.
She nodded gently against my chest, her tears soaking my shoulder. On the Ascension platform, 100,000 disciples gathered in the white jade square. It floated above a sea of clouds, surrounded by 72 dragon-entwined pillars. Each pillar stood hundreds of feet tall. True dragon souls coiled around their surfaces. Now, driven by the formation, these souls emitted low dragon roars, resonating with the celestial music from the heavens. Grandmaster Taishu stood atop the high platform. His violet gold sect master robes flapped sharply in the wind. He looked at me, his gaze benevolent, as if gazing upon a lamb for slaughter. The hour has come. I knelt and kowtowed, then rose and walked toward the towering white jade staircase. With each step, I calculated. On each stair, I searched. My heavenly sense was pushed to its limit. My divine consciousness seeped into every brick and stone. The formation patterns hummed faintly in my ears. The 998th step. Found it. Deep within that final step, sealed away, lay Zhou Xuan's finger bone. His remnant soul howled within the bone, resonating with my consciousness.
Shatter my bone. Avenge me.
I stepped onto the white jade platform at the summit, clouds turning beneath my feet. Grandmaster Taishu was but 3 zhang away. He raised his palm. A vortex of chaotic energy coalesced, the power of a half-step true immortal. Enough to rend space. Zhang Yuan. This master will help you shatter the final barrier. His voice held barely suppressed excitement.
Master, your disciple has one more question.
Oh?
After ascension, can one no longer taste the flavors of the mortal world?
I tilted my head, my tone naive. Grandmaster Taishu's brow slightly furrowed. A flash of impatience crossed his eyes, quickly replaced by benevolence.
The immortal realm has its own nectar and jade dew, 10,000 times more delicious than mortal fare.
Then, how did Great Senior Brother's Chaos Spirit Root taste?
My smile widened further. The air froze. Grandmaster Taishu's expression shifted from benevolence to confusion. Then to bone-chilling coldness, all in less than a breath. What are you saying? His voice turned hoarse. Killing intent appearing in his eyes for the first time. I dropped all pretense. His eyes were filled with mockery.
This is where you extracted Xiao Wu Wang's spiritual root and devoured it bite by bite. And Senior Zhou Xinsu, Fairy Qingli, Patriarch Wuchen. They all became your elixir of immortality, didn't they?
Wretch. A terrifying pressure erupted. The entire white jade platform trembled. Taishu Zhiren struck out with a palm, unleashing primordial chaos energy. It coalesced into a sky-shrouding giant hand. Since you know everything, I cannot let you live. The chaos hand reached for me. Where it passed, space shattered, revealing the dark void. His face contorted. I've been waiting for this moment. I channeled the last wisp of my spiritual power into the step beneath my feet.
Senior, forgive me.
Above the 9 heavens, thunder roared. At the center of the ascension platform, a crimson pillar of light shot into the sky, dyeing the golden radiance into a hellish blood prison. The mountain-protecting formation groaned under the strain. Three formation patterns, like venomous snakes, spread from the edges of the white jade platform. They instantly coiled around Taishu Zhiren's body. The chaos hand froze midair. He looked down at the blood-red patterns binding him, feeling his cultivation base draining away madly. Impossible. This is that waste succuance.
Didn't expect this, Master. You've devoured so many fellow disciples. Today, I'll help them claim justice.
Taishu Zhiren stared at me, then began to chuckle lowly. The laughter grew louder, more frenzied, echoing across the empty platform like a night owl's cry.
Good, good, my dear disciple. He raised his head.
His face, twisted by the bloody formation light, looked demonic. What do you know? The path to immortality is desolate beyond measure.
Watching your beloved turn to dust.
Watching mountains and rivers shift and change. Xiao Wu Wang's talent was indeed peerless. But he grew attached to a mortal woman. His Tao heart wavered. How could he accompany me to witness eternity? Zhou Xiansu and the others, each trapped by worldly attachments. Unable to sever them. I was helping them find release. Letting them achieve eternity with me in another form.
Heresy. Today, your soul will be sacrificed to my wrong brethren.
The formation patterns blazed. Taishu Zhiren let out a piercing shriek.
His handsome face aged visibly.
Black hair turned to snow, skin withered. His upright form hunched over like an old crone. The youth maintained for millennia by devouring disciples was gone, rapidly disintegrating before the inverse immortal formation. I'll kill you, vile disciple. His eyes bloodshot, he disregarded his draining cultivation. Forcibly burned his essence to charge at me. I leapt from the ascension platform. Grandmaster Taishu transformed into a red streak in hot pursuit. So fast it tore the air with a sinister laugh. The 100,000 disciples below erupted in chaos. They watched the sky's golden light turn to blood jade. Watched the sect leader become a white-haired demon.
Watched me plummet from the sky. Stop him!
Taishu roared. Several loyal elders shot skyward, only to be struck down midair by a sword beam. Circling me with mournful cries, the sword's body was crimson red. It was Xiao Wu Wang's sword, Jinghong.
From the sword came his final echo. Weak but resolute, junior brother, avenge me.
I gripped the hilt. 10 years of sword training surged within me.
Rainbow pierces. The sun.
The sword tip pierced Taishu's palm. Black blood sprayed, foul-smelling, staining the white jade platform. You seek death. Taishu went utterly mad, no longer suppressing his draining power. He detonated all the energy in his dantian at once. In an instant, heaven and earth darkened, sun and moon lost light.
A colossal palm condensed from pure destruction.
Descended from the sky, aiming to crush the entire ascension platform to dust. I landed and rolled. Where I stood was now a bottomless crater. Magma erupting from below. Form the formation. Quickly. That vile disciple has turned demon. Seize him at once. The Grand Elder shrieked. I sneered and slapped the bronze bell at my waist. Another relic left by Zhou Xiansu, capable of recording images. A projection shone forth, displaying simultaneously above the 100,000 disciples on the white jade platform. Taishu's ferocious face.
This is where you extracted Xiao Wu Wang's spiritual root.
They all became your elixirs of longevity. I cannot let you live, vile disciple. Dead silence, then collapse. A disciple slumped to the ground. Eyes vacant. Others looked around in confusion, as if the world was crumbling. Su Wenqing stood at the crowd's forefront, tears streaming, looking at me. At the aging demon, trembling violently. But he didn't flee. He clutched the jade pendant tightly. Seizing the moment, I shouted, voice amplified by spiritual power, echoing across the entire long range.
See? We are all just as livestock. Today it's me. Tomorrow it's you.
Fight him!
A disciple close to Xiao Wuwang. Eyes red, drew his sword. The spark that lit the powder keg. 100,000 sword lights soared into the sky simultaneously. Grandmaster Taishi trembled with rage, watching his disciples turn against him. He completely gave up suppressing his cultivation, transforming into a crimson streak of light. Burning his life force as the price, he charged at me. All of you, die! This strike condensed 972 years of his cultivation. Where it passed, space crumbled, and time itself seemed to distort. My pupils contracted, every hair on my body stood on end. I couldn't dodge this.
Brother, be careful.
Su Wenqing's scream rang out. The next instant, a jade green light shielded me. It was her. She activated the jade pendant. A blade light pierced through. The pendant pierced his frail body, then pierced through the dozens of disciples shielding me. Time seemed to freeze. I saw Su Wenqing's body float up. Blood drew a tragically beautiful arc in the air. I saw those dozens of disciples, not even having time to scream. Their bodies exploded into clouds of blood mist. Fragments of the jade pendant fell like rain. Each piece reflected my face, eyes wide with fury. A youth with a pierced chest collapsed at my feet. He forced a smile with difficulty. Run, Brother Gu. We believe in you. His head slumped down. A smile still on his lips. My eyes instantly welled up. Something inside me snapped. Was it reason? Fear? Or the last shred of attachment to life? I didn't know. All I know now is I want this old monster dead.
Ah.
I gripped the Jinghong sword tightly, charging towards the now dimmed crimson light. Sword tip met crimson light. An irresistible force transmitted from the blade. I was set flying, crashing hard against the Ascension platform's pillar. The sound of shattering bones was clear. I spat out a mouthful of blood. And I smiled, because Grandmaster Taishi wasn't carrying later. His life-burning desperate strike had been blocked, coupled with the devouring immortal raised rain. His aura had weakened to the extreme. At this moment, he was nothing but a spent force, a decrepit old man.
Gu Yuan, do you think destroying me will change anything?
He laughed hoarsely, taking step after step towards me. He raised a withered hand, reaching for the crown of my head.
This world of cultivation has always been one that devours people. If I die, there will be another. I closed my eyes, awaiting death.
But the expected excruciating pain didn't come. Instead, a dull thud of a blade-piercing flesh. And a girl's sob. I snapped my eyes open. I saw Su Wenqing standing behind Grandmaster Taishi, both hands gripping a short sword, its blade piercing from his back to his chest. Protruding, dripping with black blood. Her white robes were already soaked in blood. Her face was pale, her hand holding the sword trembling so much she could barely grip it. But her eyes held a determination I'd never seen before. You. Grandmaster Taishi looked down in disbelief, then began to crumble to dust. First the skin, then the flesh, and finally the bones. 972 years of cultivation, 10,000 years of scheming. Under the combined force of the inverse immortal array and the fatal blow, turned into flying ash that scattered to the wind. A generation's demon lord was no more. Su Wenqing collapsed to the ground. The short sword slipped from his hand. He looked at me, tears falling. Then he smiled.
Senior brother. I did it.
I crawled over and pulled her trembling body into my arms. Her body was cold. Her life force was fading rapidly.
Don't talk. I'll save you. There has to be a way.
Senior brother. Don't blame yourself. You saved so many more.
Wenqing.
Holding him, I let a long, mournful cry to die. The sound was piercing. It echoed under the blood-red sky. After Grandmaster Taishi's death, the inverse immortal array gradually calmed. The Ascension platform was littered with corpses. The surviving disciples looked around in a daze, as if waking from a nightmare. The Grand Elder and his trusted aides tried to escape in the chaos, but they were surrounded by the enraged disciples.
Avenge Senior Brother Xiao. Avenge our fallen comrades.
Sword light fell like rain. The reckoning of justice had begun. I did not take part. Carrying Su Wenqing, I walked step by step down from the Ascension platform. Her breathing grew fainter. Her body temperature dropped lower. And my heart grew heavier.
Move.
I barged into the alchemy summit peak, kicking open the sealed stone door. The alchemy elder was packing his valuables, preparing to flee. I grabbed him by the collar.
Save her, or I'll make you wish you were dead.
I'll try. For 3 days and 3 nights, I waited outside the alchemy room. I didn't eat, drink, sleep, or rest. Every time the slightest sound came from within, my heart would clench into a knot. On the dawn of the 4th day, the alchemy room door opened. The alchemy elder looked haggard, as if he'd aged 10 years. Her life is saved, but her cultivation is ruined. Her meridians are shattered. She likely won't be able to cultivate again. I rushed into the alchemy room. Su Wenqing lay on a jade bed, her face pale, but her eyes were open. She saw me and gave a weak smile.
Senior brother, your beard has grown.
I wanted to smile, but the tears came first. 3 days later, the profound heaven sect held a funeral for the fallen. And all heroes, 370 names were carved. I gazed at those familiar and unfamiliar names for a long time, wordless. Xiao Wuwang's steel was wiped clean once more. Zuchman's memorial tablet now stood beside it. With the rights of a sect leader, I buried that finger bone. Su Wenqing walked to my side, dressed in plain white, leaning on a cane.
Senior brother, don't blame yourself. You saved more people.
I saved you. Yet I'm the one who caused you to never cultivate again.
Then I won't cultivate. This world offers more paths than just immortality.
I turned to look at her. The morning sun shone in from outside the hall, gilding her pale face with a golden edge. She was no longer the little girl who used to chase after me. Having walked the line between life and death, she understood more than anyone. After the funeral, the surviving elders unanimously nominated me as the new sect leader. I refused.
I activated the inverse immortal array, shattering my meridians and leaving me with little life left. Everyone fell silent.
My gaze fell upon Su Wanqing.
From this day forward, he is the acting sect leader of the Xinqiao sect.
Su Wanqing looked panicked.
I can't. My cultivation is ruined. How can I command respect?
You can. You've done well these past 3 days. The Xinqiao sect needs a fresh start, and you are the most suitable one. But I will stay to help you. Until you're fully accustomed to everything. When you can stand on your own, I will leave.
He looked at me and finally gave a heavy nod. The 6 months after Grandmaster Taishu's death were the Xinqiao sect's most difficult times. 3,000 years of foundation crumbled overnight. Enemy sects watched covetously from without, while disciples were panicked within. Worse still, what Grandmaster Taishu had devoured over the years was not just the disciples' spiritual roots, but the sect's very fortune. After his death, the spiritual veins of the Xinqiao mountains began to wither. Half of the 72 peaks turned barren. I, with my broken body, assisted Su Wanqing in reorganizing the sect. By day, we visited each peak to reassure the disciples and revise the sect rules. By night, I entered the scripture repository alone, correcting the cultivation methods that Grandmaster Taishu had altered. Su Wanqing learned quickly. Unable to cultivate, she poured all her energy into sect affairs. She abolished all ceremonies related to Ascension, and renamed the Ascension platform the Platform of Awakening. I watched him calmly issue orders in the council hall, and saw the elders who once looked down on him gradually yield with sincere respect. I feel both relieved and bitter. He's grown up. And I'm dying. The backlash from the immortal slang formation is worse than I expected. My meridians are like dried up riverbeds. Every time my spiritual energy circulates, it brings a tearing pain through my body. Elder Danding says I only have 3 years left at most. 3 years is enough. Another Qingming festival has come on the Lion Dance platform. Su Wanqing wears a dark black long Taoist robe. In her hair is pinned the silver bell hairpin I gave her. It makes a soft, faint tinkling sound in the spring breeze.
Everyone. 3 years ago, our predecessors lost their lives here. Today we swear an oath here. Disciples of Xinqiao sect will never prey on fellow cultivators. Never seek immortality at the cost of other lives. Whoever breaks this oath will be slain by heaven and earth.
Her voice resounds through the clouds. I stand at the edge of the crowd, watching her back. A faint smile crosses my lips. After the ceremony, she comes to find me. The spring breeze brushes past, bringing the scent of peach blossoms from afar.
Senior brother, you're leaving, aren't you? Your health. You can't hide it from me. You've taught me so much these past 6 months. I can handle everything on my own now.
It is time for me to go.
Where are you going?
I don't know. Just wander around. See what this world without lies is really like.
Will you ever come back?
I turn my head to look at her. She has grown into a graceful young woman. Her features hold a heroic beauty, but those eyes. They're still just like the little girl who used to chase after me all those years ago.
Maybe. If one day I miss the osmanthus cake of Xinqiao sect.
She doesn't let me finish. She turns and runs away. Her back disappears into the peach blossom forest. The wind blows, and bells dance down like rain, like a pink snowfall. I smile softly. I strap on Xiao Wu's Jinghong sword, and stride down the mountain path. My first stop on this journey is the mortal world. Grandmaster Taishu once said that cultivators should cut off all mortal ties. This world is nothing against, but I want to see myself. What the last of those ants I've lived on for 20 years are really like.
I come to a small town.
And nobody lays me on. I get a job at a private school in the east of the town, teaching children to read and write. The kids all like me. They don't know I'm a cultivator. They only know that this young teacher tells lots of strange stories about flying swords, about the magic of immortality, about how a young man uncovers the truth. He saved many people.
Sir, what happened to that young man later?
Rohit asked.
Later, he went to a faraway place, saw many sights, ate many delicious foods.
Will he ever come back?
Maybe.
I lived in a small town for 3 years. In the spring of the 4th year, I received a letter. There was no signature on the envelope, just a clumsily drawn pair of mandarin ducks. The male one was as plump as a quail. The female one was as thin as a bean sprout. The letter was short, just one sentence. The osmanthus cakes are ready. It'll taste gold. I smiled, and as I smiled, tears streamed down. Returning to the Xinqiao sect, it was late spring. The peach blossoms at the mountain gate were in full bloom. A woman in white leaned against the tree, seemingly dozing. The spring breeze blew, petals fell in her hair, like scattered stars. I lightened my steps, wanting to surprise her, but as I approached, I heard her murmuring in her sleep.
Senior brother. Why haven't you come back yet? It's been 3 years.
I sat down beside her, draping my outer robe over her shoulders. She jolted awake, saw it was me, and her eyes instantly reddened.
Why didn't you wake me?
You were sleeping so soundly, I couldn't bear to.
She threw herself into my arms, crying and laughing.
Her fists pounded my shoulders.
You jerk. 3 years, not a single letter.
I gently patted her back, waiting for her to calm down before I spoke.
Wanqing, my time is short. The backlash from the reverse immortal array. Elder Danding said I can hold on for 5 years at most. Now it's a 4th year. I didn't want you to watch me die, so...
So you ran away. Gu Changyuan, listen to me. Every moment of the time you have left must be in front of me. No more running away, do you hear me?
She looked up, her eyes still red, but her gaze firm.
For these 4 years, I've managed the Xinqiao sect very well. Just so you could rest and recover in peace when you returned. If Elder Danding can't do it, I'll seek famous doctors across the land. If mortal healers can't, I'll beg the great powers of the demon race. There must be a way.
She paused, her voice softening.
Even if there's no way, I still want to stay by your side. You saved me so many times. This time, it's my turn to guard you.
I looked at her. At this little girl who couldn't even hold a sword steady back then. Now a master in her own right. The light in her eyes outshines any star. I whispered.
All right, I won't run.
I settled in at the mysterious dawn sect. Su Wanqing was true to her word, searching everywhere for a way to extend my life. She even went to the southern borders demon realm herself, seeking an audience with the 10,000-year-old Qingqiu ancestor. The ancestor sighed upon seeing her and said,
His fate is spent, beyond medicine's reach. But if you're willing to pay half your lifespan as the price, I can grant him 10 more years. Are you willing?
I am willing.
Hearing this outside the hall, I rushed in and pulled her away.
No, I said no, and that means no.
Senior brother.
Vision's on. Your life is early century, and you gotta have. Do you want me to die with a guilty conscience?
Then let your conscience be troubled, senior brother. You owe me plenty anyway.
We were at a stalemate for a long time, finally compromising. She wouldn't trade her lifespan, and I would rest and recover. Those 10 years were the most peaceful of my life. I lived in a small courtyard in the back mountains, tending to flowers and plants daily, occasionally lecturing new disciples on the Tao. After handling sect affairs, Su Wanqing would come to play chess, drink tea, and watch the sunrise and sunset with me. My health fluctuated. Good enough on some days to accompany her across all 72 peaks. Bad enough on others that I couldn't even leave my bed. On those days, she'd stay by my bedside, reading stories, or just holding my hand in silence. In the winter of the 8th year, my condition worsened sharply. It was snowing heavily that day. Lying on my bed, listening to the soft patter of snow outside the window, I suddenly remembered many past events. I recalled the warmth of Grandmaster Taishu's hand on my head, the confident smile of Xiao Wuwang, and the sky full of bloody light on the Ascension platform.
Wanqing, help me outside for a look.
Your health.
One last time.
She was silent for a moment, then helped me into the courtyard. The snow fell heavily, a vast expanse of light between heaven and earth. The distant awakening lion platform was faintly visible in the wind and snow, like a silent monument. Gazing at that snowy expanse,
In this life of mine, I built my foundation at 5, formed my golden core at 10, nurtured my nascent soul at 15, and transformed my spirit at 20. Everyone said I had unparalleled talent, a once-in-10 millennia genius. But I wish I had never cultivated immortality. If I weren't a genius, Master Tai, Su wouldn't have taken me in. If I weren't a genius, I wouldn't have borne so many expectations. If I weren't a genius.
I coughed, blood trickling from the corner of my mouth. Su Wanqing held my hand tightly.
Maybe I could have been an ordinary mortal, marrying and having children, dying of old age in bed.
But, senior brother, I have no regrets, because I met you.
I turned to look at her.
Wanqing, don't erect a tombstone for me after I die. Bury me beneath the awakening lion platform. To keep senior Zhou Xuan's company. And find a good man to marry. Don't spend your life clinging to memories.
No, I won't marry. I'll wait for your next life.
I wanted to say more, but I had no strength left. My vision began to blur. Her cries in my ear grew fainter and fainter. The last thing I felt was her throwing herself over me. Her tears soaked through my robe. After my death, Su Wanqing never married. She buried me beneath the awakening lion platform, as I wished, with no tombstone. She only planted an orchid before the grave. It bloomed year after year. Its fragrance was overwhelming. She lived a very long time, long enough to see the mysterious dawn sect become the number one immortal sect in the world, long enough to watch generation after generation of disciples grow old and pass away. She abolished all systems related to ascension. She reformed the sect into an academy system. Anyone, regardless of talent, could enroll. On the day of her passing, it was spring. She came along to the awakening lion platform. She sat down beside that orchid. The spring breeze brushed past. Petals fell upon her silver white hair. Just like that afternoon many years ago, she whispered softly.
Senior brother. I'm coming to be with you.
She closed her eyes, a smile on her lips. In a daze, she saw a youth in dark robes standing in a sea of flowers. He reached out his hand to her. His face was as it had been, his gaze gentle, as if time had never passed. She rose and ran towards that light.